In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 simple steps that'll solve half of your money problems. And who couldn't use more help with their finances right now with inflation at a 40-year high, making it harder and harder to keep up? By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to do to help get your personal finances in order. The tips I'm about to share came from Mark Skousen and his lovely wife, Joanne, as part of the Tom Woods School of Life, which I recently did a video on and will put down in the description. Mark is an accomplished PhD Austrian economist, author of more than 25 books, and renowned expert in personal finance and investing. He's also the producer of Freedom Fest, which is the world's largest gathering of free minds held every year in Las Vegas. Tip number 1 is to track everything you spend, and I mean everything. Write it down or use an app like Mint, Personal Capital, or Monarch Money. It doesn't need to be a full budget, just keep it simple and pay attention to the small things. Where does the money go? We all waste money, but simply knowing where it goes is going to solve half of your money problems. Tip number 2, which is often neglected, is to spend time evaluating your spending at the end of each week or month. Is the money going to entertainment, subscriptions, food and drinks? Are these the places that you want your money to be going? Knowing the answer to this is going to help you know what you need to change going forward. Tip number 3 is pay yourself first, at least 10%. And this comes from the classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. It should be no less than 1/10, no matter how little you earn. It can be much more as you can afford. Pay yourself first. An important point that Mark made about this is that this needs to be a deliberate savings program, i.e. something set up on autopilot so you don't have to think about it. It's psychological because you won't miss what you don't see. Think about the IRS. They always get paid because they withhold the money before you even have a chance to spend it. And pretty soon you will have built up some savings and you won't even realize where it came from. If you've liked what I've shared so far, please go ahead and click that like button below. But you might also be saying to yourself, come on, man. I mean, I thought you were going to share something better than this. These steps are too simple, too obvious. I've heard them a million times from my parents and people like Dave Ramsey. And what I would say to that is, yes, these might be simple and obvious, but they're not easy. I don't know about you, but I could use a lot of help doing better on all 3 of these. The truth is, sometimes it's really important to get back to the fundamentals before you can build wealth. A quote from Benjamin Franklin about this says, "There is much revenue in economy, and no revenue is sufficient without economy." And what that means is that you can make a lot of money and still go bankrupt, as I think we've seen with many celebrities. With that being said, I do agree that there is a lot of boomer financial advice that is not necessarily going to work for Gen Xers like myself, or millennials or Gen Zers. Another way of saying that is what has worked in the last 40 years is not necessarily going to work for the next 40 years, because the last 40 years have been marked by a period of bubble finance. Ever since Greenspan joined the Fed in the 1980s, and they discovered the printing press in the bottom of the Eccles building. This has been a period of declining interest rates and money printing, which has benefited asset prices, housing prices, in the stock market. Now, of course, this is great for people who already own those things or bought these things during that period, but just talk to a millennial or Gen Zer these days and see how out of reach it is for them to buy a house. Saving a little money on their avocado toast or making coffee at home hardly seems like it'll make a difference. This is also what has pushed many people out on the risk curve to buy things like meme stocks and crypto. Rick Rule likens a time like this to a party with a never-ending bottle of vodka. But unfortunately, at some point, the party has to stop. That's why I would urge caution before jumping into buying a house with a mortgage or putting all your money into stock index mutual funds. These are things that may have worked for our parents, but may not work for us, as we could be at the top of another stock market or housing bubble. If you want to learn how to profit from the coming collapse of the everything bubble, you should watch this video right here.